Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Builder's Diaries, where I build a business and a body at the same time. Today, we're going to be talking about the business. I'm going to give you a couple of different updates. I want to talk about something I'm doing to hopefully make room for a lot more clients and just a big change that I'm making in my schedules. Also want to talk about something that came up today that was kind of interesting with a conversation I had with a friend about AI. And then also want to talk about my diet and how I'm eating today, because I'm not eating 100% raw food anymore. So what does that look like? All right, let's get into it. So I am making a big change with what I do. I am a to-do list person, you guys. I love this app on my phone called TickTick. And I create this whole list and I check things off and I have a whole list. And I feel so accomplished when I have like 10 things checked off on my list because I have all these things I have to do. I'm very, very good at being busy. But I started reading this book, and this book is called The One Thing. I go to the library every 3 weeks, and I read about a book every single week right now. I'm loving reading books before I go to bed. So I'm reading books, I get into my weighted blanket on top of my EMF sheet, my grounding sheet, and I'm so relaxed. Like I'm falling asleep within like 15 minutes when I do this. So I'm not getting through my book very much, but I am loving this book right now. This book is something that Russell Brunson talks about a lot. He actually bases his perfect webinar script on this book, like the concept in this book, which is really cool. So I kind of heard a lot about this book and I've seen a lot about this book. So I wanted to read it myself and I found it at the library. So I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. But this book basically kind of makes you think a little bit differently. So instead of creating a task list of all these things that you need to do, it talks about, and it says, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? So that is a big, interesting question, So instead of being busy and having all of these things that you have to do and you do all these things and you're just busy, what is that one big thing? What is that big domino that if you knock this over and you do this, everything else becomes easier or non-existent in your life, And so for me, it's like for business, I could be busy, I could be filming this, I could be filming reels, I could be creating, content for social media, I could be creating ebooks, I could be creating blogs. Like there's a lot of things around this that I could be doing, but what is the one big thing? The one big thing that if I do this, then everything else doesn't matter. And that one big thing for me is getting a paying client, And so I need to be focused on that big thing every single day. Instead of doing all these little things that I was doing, that's one big thing. So I think instead of staying very busy and, loading myself with all these things I have to do every single day and I have to do this, I'm going to give myself a lot more time. I can't start doing freelancing. I can't start working with clients if I don't have any time, And so I have to open that up to allow these clients to come into my life and allow this work to come into my life, because right now, as it stands, I don't have capacity to do that. So I am going to be changing things kind of according to this book. This book is really cool. I really like this book. So if you guys are big readers, you can listen to it on Audible. If you're not a reader, you can go into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you the cliff notes of this book if you want to. That would be a really good way to look at this book as well. But it's interesting. I think it's just something to think about, and it's a really good concept. So I think changing my thinking around, my to-do list and being busy is going to change a lot for me, which is cool. So I'm going to start implementing that, And what's really cool is you can take that question and you can use it, in your fitness, you can use it in your diet, you can use it in your relationships, you can use it in your spirituality, you can use it everywhere, anything that you want to accomplish tasks. What is that one big thing? What is the one thing, the one big domino? What is that big domino that you just need to get out of the way and everything else will work? So think about that, guys. All right. Next is I want to talk about a fun little AI story. So if you guys know, I love AI. I use AI all the time. Like it saves me time. Right now at my full-time job, I'm actually trying to find ways that I can do that are safe, that I'm not exposing our data to, AI, because working for a corporate company is very, very interesting with AI. But I'm doing easy things that I can save time in my job. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do today to save time and use AI in my job? And I'm doing a lot of more spreadsheet-based things, like data that isn't actual homeowner data, data that I'm just using internal data type stuff. So it's pretty easier for me to do that. And it's pretty cool because Claude AI just released a new thing that you can now upload CSV files. So you can upload a CSV file and you can have it analyze the CSV file, and it will do some super in-depth analysis. That's pretty cool. You could not do that as of 2 days ago. I think they just rolled it out 2 days ago. So with AI, like every single week, there's something new. It's like Christmas every single week because there's something cool and new that's like rolling out or coming out. And all these companies are competing for, the best, the biggest, to do the coolest things, to have the newest thing. And it's cool to be a part of it. And it's cool to follow it, And so I love it. And I was texting with one of my best friends and we were talking about it and she was like, yeah, I don't do anything with AI. I don't use it at all. And it's interesting because I think there's two different people. There's people out there that are using it a lot, and there's people that haven't touched it at all and don't want to use it. That maybe they're fearful of it. Maybe they just don't like it. Maybe they're just like, no, it's not for me. They're not really techie. There's two people out there, and I'm definitely in one camp and there's people in another camp, and she's also very into animal rights and very into, environmental rights. And she's one of my vegan friends, because I was vegan for so long. So she was just like, I don't want to use AI until the environmental impacts are better, until they start thinking about the impacts on the environment, because there's pretty horrible impacts on the environment, you guys. Like, this is not an environmental safe place for all the data storage of all this AI stuff they have to do, So it's an interesting thing, but I was just like, you know what? Like, honestly, like, you boycotting AI because of the environment is only hurting you. It's only hurting you because it's coming. It's here, you guys. It's not going to stop. We're not just going to go back. It's not going to be rolled back. Like, it's here. And the people that are using it right now are getting ahead. The people that are using it right now you're seeing that edge. You're getting an edge in it. And it's going to come to the point where if you don't understand how to use it, if you don't understand how to prompt it, you're not going to be working in a job that is a computer-based job, and she has that type of a job. So it's something where it's like, you need to get on board with it. I understand, there's all these ethical issues with it, I guess. And a lot of people have a lot of moral and ethical issues with it. A lot of people are scared of it. They don't like it. It's new, it's scary, it's a new technology, but you guys, it's here to help us. It's here to make our lives easier. And the sooner you get on board and the sooner you start using it, the more ahead you're going to be from the other people that aren't using it, honestly. And I love it. I was probably at the beginning a little scared of it. And I think in the raw community, in the vegan community, they're very anti-technology, all the things, but I think it's a good thing, honestly. I think it's a really good thing that's going to happen for us. It's allowing me to be able to level up my content. It's allowing me to be able to level up my business into a way that maybe if I had like employees, like I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now, working full time and starting a marketing agency and doing all the content that I'm doing without AI. I couldn't. I didn't do it until about a year and a half ago, and that's when it kind of started for me. That's when things changed for me, and I was able to start doing a lot more and actually posting all the time and creating content all the time, because I couldn't do that. I use AI for blogging. There's no way I could have written 50 blogs on my own, just written them without the help of AI. Did I use AI 100%? No. Like, you don't, it doesn't sound very good. So you definitely have to go in there and you have to change it and you have to read it. You have to edit it. You have to make it your own, but it's a very, very, very good starting tool. I like taking it because I write a little bit more complicated. I think I like to talk to people that are a little more techie, and I have to remember that I'm talking to the general public sometimes. So I like to take it and change my language to make it simpler. I'll take it and say, please put this in 8th grade language or lower. And that is easier for most people to understand. And those videos do well for me on YouTube. So I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do with AI. And I think it's one of those, like, don't be afraid of it. Get on board. Get on board. And I think I actually got her on board. And I know she says she's never used it, but I was like, you can use it for spreadsheet stuff. And she does a lot of things manually. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, don't do that. I was like, take this website, put this website into ChatGPT and say, hey, will you search this website and take this information and put it into a table for me so you can, because she's basically pulling information off of a website and putting it into an Excel. And I was like, no, don't do that. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. You don't need to do that today. Today, we don't do that. You can literally just do it within, 30 seconds. It's done, which is cool. So hopefully I got her, thinking about the possibilities of making things easier, because it does. It makes things easier, you guys. It's awesome to do it that way. All right, last thing I'm going to talk about is my diet. I'm no longer 100% raw. I haven't really been 100. I'm never 100% raw, but I am eating cooked food again, you guys. I am eating a lot more cooked food than I was before. So I don't know, this entire year, I haven't felt called to eat cooked food. I just didn't really want to eat it. And a couple of months ago, when I was going into my detox that I was doing, I had some butternut squash and I roasted that, and I just had to almost force myself to eat it. And that's not normally the case. I usually like butternut squash, and it was just, I didn't feel like I wanted cooked food. And so I've stayed probably about 80% raw, like 90% raw this entire year. And now I'm kind of to the point where I'm like, I want some cooked plant-based food. I want some delicious soups. I want some potatoes. I want some soups. I made a coconut curry the other day. I want some curry, some warmer things. I think maybe because the temperature is changing in California and it's getting cooler, maybe that's kind of what's triggering me. But I just feel like I want to do this for a month or so. So I think I'm going to probably eat this way till about mid-December and then switch back into fruits because fruits are delicious. But right now I just feel a little bit drawn to eating more cooked, nourishing foods and listening to my body, making sure that I'm not going to eat, it's hard to go from eating fruit to eating like cooked food because you go from eating this massive bowl of fruit to eating this little plate of food, and it's a mental mind fuck, like it's hard, you're just like, oh, like all this food and then all this food. So it's hard. We'll see how long I can do it. That's why I like going back to fruit because I feel like I'm just one of these people I could eat and eat, 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 eat. And that's why I eat fruit because I can eat, 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 eat fruit and I won't gain tons of weight if I were to do the same with cooked food. But all right. So yeah, going into a season of cooked food for November and some of December, I think. But it'll be fun. I'm excited. I haven't had soups for a while, so I am going to make like cauliflower potato soup, something. I love doing blender soups. So maybe I'll make some raw soups. I looked up on ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT to give me some recipes for next week. I was like, I want a green soup and I want some smoothies. And honestly, the green soup recipe it gave me sounds disgusting. So I'm like, all right, I got to go back to the plant-based bundle. I got to go back to some recipe books and actually pull some decent raw soups or some decent vegan soups because ChatGPT is just not, I don't think it's going to cut it right now with what I'm really trying to do because it was just pure vegetables. I'm like, that's not going to taste good. Like that's not going to taste good. So anyways, all right, you guys take care. I will catch up with you guys soon and let you know how my one thing is going. The back of this, what is your one thing?